Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Brendan Miller here with
Isaiah Miller.
And today we have another episode of Forgotten Molds. Isaiah, what brand are we talking about today?
We are checking out Streamline Discs. For those of you who don't know, Streamline Discs is a sister company to the main brand MVP. Unlike MVP, their discs are not overmolded.
Now the reason why we went with Streamline discs is because they are overshadowed and I think underrated when compared to Axiom Discs, which is another sister company from MVP, and to MVP herself. So hopefully in this video we can shed some light on some forgotten molds from the Streamline Discs lineup. Thanks to 1010 Discs for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about some discs.
All right guys, first disc in the lineup is the Streamline Stabilizer. This disc has a speed of 3, a glide of 3, a turn of 0, and a fade of 2.5. This is in their firm electron plastic, which I believe is a baseline plastic. This disc is a bit of a unique profile. Looks a bit like a zone a judge had a child. Overall, it feels very good in the hands, backhand, sidearm. I did putt with this disc. I did hit like a nice 50-footer with it, although I couldn't recommend putting with it. It's pretty overstable and doesn't have a whole lot of glide. Flight of this disc is about what you'd expect for just looking at the profile. It's pretty slow. It's got a little bit of fade to it on the backhands. With the sidearm, the added torque does make this disc a little straighter, but it still has a little bite at the end of the flight. If you're looking for a solid approach disc that's a little less overstable than a zone, I recommend the Stabilizer.
The next disc in the lineup is the Streamline Trace, arguably one of their more popular molds, even though the brand itself I feel like is really underrated. This is a Sarah Hokum Signature Series disc right here, and this is in the Cosmic Neutron plastic. Now the interesting thing about this disc, when I initially saw the flight numbers and felt the disc, I thought it was gonna fly similar to the Star Wraith. It has pretty much identical numbers to the Star Wraith. It has a speed of 11, a glide of 5, a turn of 1, and a fade of 2. However, upon throwing this thing, I found that it is actually quite overstable. I would actually categorize this thing in more of that destroyer category as far as just the stability right out of the box. Now, talking about the profile of it, it has a really nice profile, nice flat top, a relatively high parting line, and the overall feel of this disc in the hand, especially for the sidearm, feels magical. Again, it's got quite a flat profile and it feels super comfortable. Plastic feels amazing. But look and feel aside, how does this disc actually fly? Well, like I mentioned, it actually flies quite stable. I threw this disc on a forehand a number of times and it stabled up pretty fast out of the hand and actually had a nice finish at the end. And this disc gets some really, really nice distance when you are able to put some power behind it. Now, for my forehand, if I chop it over a little bit, I was getting some nice flights out of it. It's got really good glide, but again, that fade at the end is a little bit more than I was expecting. Overall, the thing that stands out to me the most about this disc is the actual feel in the hand. It feels super great. But again, like I said, right out of the box, it actually is quite stable, which is a little surprising, but nevertheless, really awesome disc. Really cool if you're looking for something that's going to be really good for forehands, or if you're looking for an 11 speed that's a little bit more stable than a Wraith, check out the Trace in the Cosmic Neutron plastic. Fantastic disc from Streamline.
All right guys, next disc in the lineup is the Streamline Runaway. This is in the Neutron plastic. First off, feels amazing. I love this plastic so much. The speeds of this disc are a speed of 5, a glide of 5, a turn of 0, and a fade of 3.5. Those numbers, pretty close. I actually think it has a bit more fade than the 3.5. This disc is ridiculous. This thing goes out to 200 feet and then it dumps. The profile of this disc is very unique. A pretty high parting line and then a bit of a bevel here at the end. I tried to flex this disc a couple times with some Annie, and within like 80 feet of me throwing it, it's just dumping to the left. With the sidearm, it handles a lot of torque, and you could really chop this on a sidearm and it's gonna come back. I can guarantee it. My brother actually throws a lot of anvils, and I think this disc actually has more glide than the anvil, albeit with just as much stability, if not more. Overall, a really cool disc, really unique disc. You don't really see many 5 speeds like this that are this overstable, also with some glide. But if you're looking for something that is not gonna turn over in a headwind for your upshots and stuff, I'd recommend the Runway.
I want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this video, 1010 Discs. They have been super supportive of our YouTube channel from the very beginning, so thank you so much to them for sending these discs out for us to try. Check them out. They have a really great website, very intuitive. It gives you a lot of information about the discs. You can see the flight path of of it, you can even see how much dome certain discs have, which is very useful when you're shopping. They also have a wide variety of discs in stock, from Discraft to Innova to MVP to Streamline and many more. Again, check them out in the link in the video description. 1010 discs, they're awesome. And again, thank you so much to them for providing these discs. We couldn't make videos without them. This next disc is one that I was really eager to get my hands on from this lineup, and that is the Streamline Jet. Reason being, this is a flippy boy. And the flight numbers do reflect that. It has a speed of 11, a glide of 5, a turn of 3, and a fade of 2. I would say that the turn on this disc is a little bit more like a -4 or -5. This thing is flippy right out of the box. And taking a look at the profile, we can see where that understability comes from. A very low parting line and a very high top. This disc has a tad of dome at the top, which gives it that glide. Now, how does this disc fly in the hand? I have to say, I really like throwing this disc. Now, if you struggle with throwing understable discs on the sidearm, you are going to struggle throwing this disc because it is flippy. But if you can throw a sidearm or a backhand and you can hyzer flip a disc, you're going to have a lot of fun with this thing because it has this effortless hyzer flip to turn. You can get a full flight out of the disc really easily, and you can push some really, really nice distances. In this shot, I threw this disc on the sidearm flat, and I actually got it to ride over and hold for quite a bit of distance, which is also very useful. This disc, in my opinion, is a fantastic beginner disc if you are looking to step up in driver speed and you want to learn how to hyzer flip a disc, or if you even want to learn how to add a little more touch to your sidearm and learn how to throw discs and have them flip up and turn. This is a great disc to check out. Again, out of the bag, it's flippy, it's glidey, and you're going to get some great distances if you can hit this disc on the proper angle. Streamline Jet, one of my favorites so far out of this lineup.
Next disc in the lineup is the Streamline Ascend. The numbers on this disc are a speed of 6, a glide of 5, a turn of -3, with a fade of 0.5. Those numbers, I think, are very accurate to this disc. The profile of this disc is pretty unique. It's got a lot of dome and a pretty low parting line, which means it'll be flippy. Flippy it is. This disc is a 6-speed, and it feels almost like a hybrid between a mid and a fairway driver. I throw a lot of leopards, and this thing is different than a leopard for sure. And for all those people who've thrown a diamond out there, I think it feels quite similar to a diamond.
Like my brother said, this disc is unique. It has unique feeling in the hand, although I think it feels rather comfortable. Backhands for me, I have a little bit smaller hands, feels really good. And even the forehands feel pretty comfortable as well. If you go back and watch our Westside Discs video, I really loved the Sear from Westside. The Sear is very similar to this disc. However, I would say the Ascend is a better version of the Sear. It's not quite as domey, it's not quite as flippy, and I think it's just a little bit more workable for most players. I have a lower arm speed than my brother, especially with the backhand, but even with my slower arm speed, I was able to get some beautiful flights out of this disc. I can throw this disc on hyzer, have it stand up, turn, and actually finish left. I am left-handed, so for a righty, it would finish right, which is a really, really cool shot shape. Again, you can hyzer flip it and get it to finish the opposite direction. And if you power down on this disc, you're gonna get a nice flip up and straight flight. This disc hardly has any fade at the end, which is actually very useful if you're trying to hit a tight gap, or if there's OB around and you don't want the disc to fade out on you. This disc is going to stay in the fairway if you hit the angle right, and it's just a really fun disc to throw. One of the things that's fun to do with a disc like this is to hit it really hard, give it some airspace, and just let it bomb. And this disc actually gets quite a bit of distance because it has such a high glide number. Overall, super fun disc to throw. Again, if you have a slower arm speed, this disc is going to work really well for you. And if you have a higher arm speed, you can throw rollers or get out of jail shots with it, or even just throw massive turnover shots with it. Really, really useful disc. Streamline Ascend, very underrated. I think a lot of people would benefit from throwing a disc like this. So guys, there you go. Those are the 5 molds from Streamline discs that we took a look at in this video. I have to say, for myself personally, my favorite disc out of the whole lineup has to be the Jet. Really fun disc. You can get some really nice distance with it, and it's just a super easy driver to throw, especially if you have a lower arm speed. It's great. I love it. So much fun. Isaiah, what was your favorite?
Mine was the Runway. Super unique disc, super overstable, and really useful.
Yeah, really fun disc to throw. Again, that one definitely was high on my list as well. Sidearm, this thing feels
I think I will bag
awesome. Yeah, Isaiah's probably gonna bag this disc, which is really cool. Again, thank you so much to 1010 Discs for sponsoring this video. We can't make these videos without them, so it means a lot. Check them out, link in the video description, and let us know what brand we should talk about next. See you next time.